Well, hi everybody. Great news on my part. Remember I was mentioning that I had gone to do an interview with Major League Baseball. Well, I am happy to say that I got the job. That means that I'm going to be working for Major League Baseball for this season. And I actually thought that it was just going to be, initially just 4 dates and stuff. But I've been getting like emails like crazy. I hate having hair in like on my lip, and I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so I've been getting emails from constantly from people all over. And, they're sending all these, correspondence emails, about the job and about, responsibilities about the job, about payroll and everything else. So I also got like about, oh, gee, um, six dates in one ballpark and then six more in another ballpark for every month and stuff. So I'll be bouncing back from Cincinnati down to Atlanta, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and Nashville's kind of like right in the middle. And so that's what I'm going to be doing all summer long. I'm going to be doing Major League Baseball. So I am so excited. I mean, this is a huge breakthrough, huge, massive. Although the pay isn't that great, still just getting in the door is kind of like, a dream come true. And I did baseball back in from 2001 to 2008 in Minnesota. And I worked with the Minnesota Twins doing their television broadcasts and stuff. So I'm very familiar with the game. And I mean, I'm a huge fan. I mean, I grew up in Southern California. So I was a massive Angels fan. I lived like 10 minutes from the stadium, like a 10-minute drive. And the bike trail was right next to my house, and I could literally ride my bike to the stadium. So baseball for me is kind of like it's personal. Other sports, it's not so big of a deal, I mean, I don't really have a huge connection with, well, definitely not hockey, being that I'm from Southern California. No kid in Southern California grows up and says, "Hey, mom, dad, I'd like to be a hockey player. Can we play?" It's like you can't play outside your front door. It was different when I lived in Minnesota because I could see where kids, they grow up loving hockey because Minnesota has snow like, 10 months out of the year, right? So they have to like it. Anyway, so I was just like elated because I'm going to be in like the dugout. So this is going to be really cool for you guys because for hockey here, I don't get really close to the players and stuff, but for baseball, oh my gosh, you guys, if you're a baseball fan, and especially if you're a Reds fan or a Braves fan, I'm going to be so stinking close to the field. I'm going to be so close to the field. It's ridiculous. I'm going to be like in the dugout. They sent an email asking me if I wanted to wear a helmet in the dugout because I'm like right close to like where foul balls could like whack my head or something, So it's a really cool thing, I'm gonna be the girl that basically if there's like a controversial play or call or something like that and they need to do video review, then I get to go out on the field and hand the head umpire his headset so that he can then talk to New York about the play and stuff. And they can actually, converse about it and have questions and stuff and answer it. Like baseball does it differently than the NBA, where the refs go over to the table across the court and stuff, and they look at a monitor and and they do the replay and stuff like that, and they look at the monitor and stuff and can decide from there. But baseball is sort of like hockey. In hockey, if there's like a controversial goal, the refs will then defer to Toronto, which means that there's like a bunch of video judges from Toronto that are all watching games all night long, and some of them are assigned, to certain teams. And so when a controversial play happens, they send, that information to Toronto. Toronto then contacts the refs here via, phone line, headset and stuff, and then they talk. Well, baseball's the same thing. Since instant replay is a new thing that baseball's doing, they're going to use people, umpires in New York City to make the call, So my responsibility is to make sure that as the game is going on and I'm watching the game, that if the umpire calls for a headset and asks for it, that I'm going to be there to hand it to him and that he can actually hear and talk to the people in New York. So that's really just about all I'm doing initially. And then, I'm doing other stuff too. I mean, I'm running around and being a utility and just plugging cables in and running stuff and all kinds of, helping, being a helping hand, but I got in, I mean, okay, here's the deal. People will tell me that God isn't going to bless my transition. And I'm just like, you know what? Here's the last day of hockey. Last day of hockey, I get a bunch of games from another sport entirely that will fill up my calendar, and be a sizable amount of work for the months of May, June, July, August, and, into September. And then by the time September rolls around, it's back to hockey again in October. So I don't know. I just think that, I am blessed, and I don't think if I wasn't transitioning and I wasn't a girl, that I would even get a chance to do this job, and on top of that, I get to do it as a transgender person, as me, and I don't have to like hide. I didn't have to, worry about it and stuff like that, with the people at MLB and stuff, and the guy who interviewed me knew I was transgender. I told him, and he was cool with it, So, hey, this is awesome. And if people want to say that God doesn't bless our transitioning, and Jenny says that God's been her hormones, because God's been able to supply her needs according to his riches and glory, which meaning that when she'd had no money at all, that she was able to still get access to hormones. People donated and gave. So people, God does bless those that transition. And it's not a sin in his eyes. And he loves and cares for his little girls. So if any of you are on the fence like I was in the past, just look at me in my example of God providing work for Jenny, who had no work and now is working in social media, and me, who had lost a huge client and now has picked up a way bigger client potentially. And the sky's the limit, the sky's the limit. And God does bless us as transgender people. It's not like I doubted it, but people were telling me that I'd end up in a dumpster, begging as a confused old person and stuff. And I just never agreed with it. And if people are telling you that you are going to end up worse than, you ever were, don't believe it. Don't believe it for one instant, because you being true to yourself is the best thing that you can do for yourself, for your God, for your family, and for all of society, because they get to benefit from a person who is able to be themselves. And that is a true gift, to be able to be yourself. So many of us haven't had that opportunity, and so many of us now, as we transition, we can have the opportunity to be ourselves. What a gift. What an honor to be able to not hide anymore, to not bury and suppress ourselves as transgendered men and women from the true gender identity that we actually are. I just hope that my life and my future, wherever it might take me, might be an example to those that watch these videos through the years, and that you guys would study my life as an example that God does love the transgendered person. God does love his little boys and his little girls. Don't let anyone tell you any other thing, because they are wrong. You look to what God says about you. Don't look at what other people say. Don't listen to people that discourage you. Don't put any attention towards the one who speaks to you condescendingly, who ridicules you in front of your family or your own children or your friends. And if they are a friend, if they are a friend who actually did this, then you need to consider other people to be in your life. Because a friend, quote unquote, who would be that mean isn't a friend at all. Well, you guys, I just want to just share my joy, my utter amazement, and I am just so very grateful to God. Just grateful. Grateful. See you guys.